All right, guys, welcome to the show. Welcome. I got a bold outfit going on today, man. I am curious what your guys' thoughts are on my outfit. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Is it mid? Because I know it's sort of bold, but I can't lie. I sort of like it. So anyway, comment on that below. But I got a lot of stuff to get to today. So in just a second, we are going to talk about the real reason why Rogan went full MAGA. And this is according to Rogan, straight out of his mouth. And it is perhaps not the reason you're thinking. So we'll talk about that. We also have an interesting segment, which I think really explains the secret appeal of Trump and why he ended up winning the election. Then we'll get to Trump's new crypto scam. We have Republican congressman slipped up and said the quiet part out loud and told everybody what their real plans are. And then later on, North Carolina Republicans just rigged the rules and went full authoritarian. And I got to give you the specifics on that. So without any further ado, we'll jump into it in just a second. You guys know the drill. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you nothing. And of course, much love to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. Genuinely couldn't do it without you guys. So if you want to donate $2 a month or $5 a month or whatever, it helps. Remember, guys, we are real independent media. We are not fake independent media. I've never talked to a billionaire. I've never talked to a foreign government. I've never done any ad reads. I'm very proud of that fact. You guys help fund this show from the ground up, and I'm very, very thankful. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So Rogan, on one of his recent podcasts, had a moment here where he explained what made him snap and go full MAGA. And as I already pointed out, it is not the thing you're thinking. All right, let's listen.
Well, I wanted to stay out of the presidential election shit.
Yeah,
it's gross. Because I feel like I had to. I feel like this is so nuts. This is so nuts. When that Tim Walz guy, it's so nuts that guy was going to be the vice president. You're telling me, you're telling me this whole thing's fake then. You're telling me you don't care if someone's a liar. You don't care if they lied about their military rank, where they served. You don't care if they lie about being an assistant. You don't care if they lie about Tiananmen Square. There's too many things. This is so crazy. You would get fired if you were an assistant manager at a fucking oil changing company.
Yeah. The number one reason why he flipped and went full MAGA is Tim Walz. And he says because Tim Walz is such a horrible liar. My brother in Christ, you endorsed Donald Trump, who literally told, I believe the exact number is 30,573 lies his first term in office. There was a big Washington Post analysis done, and that's the number they came to. And let me be extra kind here, because I know what Rogan would say. Washington Post is basically fake news at this point. New York Times is basically fake news. They're all fake news. Okay. Let's be kind and cut that number in half. Let's cut it in more than half. Let's say he just told 15,000 lies, and the other lies are all ones that, you know, it was a gray area, and they said it was a lie, but it couldn't be interpreted as not a lie or whatever. Okay, let's grant all that. 15,000 lies in 4 years, which likely makes him the most prolific liar ever in modern American politics. By the way, Trump lied directly to Joe's face, and Joe knew it. And he didn't care. He said to Joe's face, you know, when my rally crowds would say, lock her up, talking about Hillary, I said, whoa, hold on now. I said, whoa, hold on. So he pretended like lock her up wasn't one of his campaign slogans and wasn't something he said on a regular basis. We've showed the compilations on this channel. We showed you the compilations of Trump repeatedly saying, lock her up, talking about Hillary Clinton. You think Rogan doesn't know that Trump said lock her up? He knows that. Another part he lied directly to his face, talking about the trying to overturn the last election, talking about election fraud, talking about how he thinks he won the 2020 election. And Rogan said, let me ask you about that. And by the way, I'm going to give you space. Nobody lets you finish talking on this, so I'm going to back up and let you and give you the floor so that you can, make your whole case. And of course, he made the dumbest fucking case imaginable. Of course, it was a lie that he won the 2020. Are you kidding me? They literally did an audit in the state of Arizona, and Biden won by more than what we thought he won by on election day. Every one of their cases crumbled. There was over 60 cases. Most of them didn't even have standing because it was so preposterous and so absurd. When Rudy Giuliani got in front of a judge to try to make the case the election was fraudulent, he literally said, we're not alleging fraud, because he knows they can't do it. The 2000 Mules documentary, which was the Dinesh D'Souza attempt to prove that the 2020 election was stolen, Dinesh D'Souza just had to come out and issue an apology and admit that his whole thing was fucking bullshit. This just happened the other day. Now, is Joe going to talk about this at any extended length? Remember when he came out after the election when Trump won and he was like, oh, it turns out voting works. Yeah, you don't say. So you're admitting Trump lied to your face, and that didn't change your view of him and your estimation of him. That didn't change your endorsement of him. Look, can we be honest here? The fact is, when Trump lies, he's a bull in a china shop. He doesn't stop. He will double down, he will triple down, he will quadruple down. And that makes it so a lot of people, like Joe Rogan, the vibe they get from Trump is, oh, he must mean it. He must think he's right because he's so aggressive and he's so obnoxious and he's so over the top and he's so sure of himself. So in other words, Donald Trump, by any standard, is 17 times the liar, more than that, than Tim Walz is. But Tim Walz, since Tim Walz is a bad liar, it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to label him as that and move on. I mean, this is astonishing stuff, man. This is truly, truly astonishing stuff. The neocon thing, right? Joe asked him, hey, did you make some mistakes in your first term by maybe picking the neocons when you shouldn't have? And Trump was basically like, yeah, maybe, yeah, kind of. Then he went on within like, a month. He went on to pick like 7 new neocons. So it was another lie to your face. If it was a mistake, why did you go on to pick more of them? Trump, why'd you do that? And Joe's totally not curious about that. Didn't bring up again, oh, hey, wow, look, he's picking neocons again. That seems bad. Didn't do it. And by the way, even the fucking lies he directly points to about Tim Walz, this is way, way overstated. Oh, he lied about his rank. No, he didn't. He got the promotion, and then he said, you know what, I'm gonna back out here. But the only reason he didn't achieve that rank officially is because he didn't fill out some fucking paperwork. On the Tiananmen Square thing, like, he was there like a couple weeks before or a month before, or it was like a couple weeks after or a month after. He was there right around the time when there were pro-democracy protests going on, but he wasn't there specifically for the event at Tiananmen Square. The idea that this is like a deal breaker, and then by the way, in the debate, he was asked about this, Tim Walz, and his answer was bad. You could tell he's a horrible liar. He's not used to lying. He's not comfortable when he does it. The very next question was to J.D. Vance about the 2020 election and whether or not he would admit that Trump lost it. And J.D. Vance didn't admit it, and he dodged the question. And he said some bullshit about like censorship on Facebook. And Rogan gave him credit for that answer, thinking it was a good answer. There's a fucking pure brazen liar right in front of your face, Joe, and you didn't even hold it against him. So apparently, to get Joe Rogan support, you have to be a bigger liar and a bolder liar, and you have to double down, triple down, and quadruple down, and never admit fault ever. And then because you have the vibe of confidence, he'll go, oh, this is a serious person who I like and who I should endorse. See, this is what I mean when I say he does politics by vibes. Because remember, guys, here are the politics that Joe Rogan says he has from his own mouth. Listen to this. You've heard this before, but this is super important. Listen to the things he says he believes in, what his values are, and what his policy preferences are. And then I'm going to tell you a thing or two about Tim Walz.
I really believe if Michelle Obama runs, she wins.
She's good.
She's great. She's the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime. I've never voted right-wing in my life. I consider universal basic income a really good idea. I want free college education.
Take it easy.
Hello, Bernie.
How are you, Joe?
Wonderful. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like Tulsi and I like Bernie. That's it.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else can eat shit.
Look at you, fucking progressive.
Yeah. I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. I think he's looking out for the interests of the working people. And I think he wants people to have a better life and do better. And I'm all for that. And if that means I have to pay more in tax, like people think, oh, you're a socialist. I've heard people say that. Oh, you're a fucking socialist, bro. Like, first of all, he's not even a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. It's a different thing. I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and throw a fuckload of them. Spend more, you fucking Republican piece of shit. 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming. I'm very pro-choice. I'm very women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, trans rights. I'm even universal health care. Obviously, this protected status is driving me crazy. This thing that Trump's doing with children that were born in other countries and then brought over here as children, and then they're talking about deporting them. That drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's
that kind of shit. And the hard right version of that is despicable. These people that I see online, why didn't they apply for citizenship? Oh, who knows? Maybe because they're fucking 13. I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't. You know Alonzo?
No, I was
a funny comedian.
Yeah.
He said, He goes, not all Donald Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Donald Trump supporters.
He definitely awakened that side.
But the January 6th thing is important.
See, it is important, but is it the 6 months later, should be the ruling number one conversation of a journalist?
I think it's really important. And one of the reasons why I think it's important, because it highlights the reasons why a guy like Donald Trump is so fucking dangerous, is because a guy can incite a bunch of morons to do something really fucking stupid. As far as trans people, some trans people listening to this, I got nothing but love for you, for everybody. And in fact, Eddie Izzard is one of my all-time favorite guests.
Oh, I love Izzard.
The right-wing thing is just an easy way to dismiss me, because I'm not right-wing.
So from his own mouth, he believes in the philosophy and the ideology and the policies of Bernie Sanders. Well, guess what, Joe? Tim Walz is Bernie Sanders as a governor. So put aside all the bullshit and all the right-wing nonsense you've been fed about who Tim Walz is and what he stands for. Here's what he actually accomplished with a 1-seat majority in the state of Minnesota as the governor. Universal free school breakfast and lunch for kids. Legal weed, something you care about. Carbon-free electricity by the year 2040. Tax rebates for the working class up to $1,300. 12 weeks paid family leave. 12 weeks paid sick leave. He banned gay conversion therapy because it's fake. It's a fraud. He did red flag laws for guns, so if somebody's having a mental breakdown and saying they're going to shoot up the school, you could take their guns from them before they shoot up the school. He did universal background checks for guns, automatic voter registration, free public college, which is something you said directly that you support. He did it for people who make $80,000 a year or less. He banned the PFAs, the PFAS, the forever chemicals, which I know is something you support because you love RFK, and that's something RFK has said that he cares about. He did a $2.2 billion increase in school funding for kindergarten to 12th grade. He did sectoral bargaining for nursing home workers, which raises their pay. And then when you look at his time in Congress, he opposed the Wall Street bailouts. Rogan agrees with that. He voted against outsourcing deals. Rogan agrees with that. He codified Roe versus Wade. Rogan agrees with that. The Roe v. Wade thing, was as governor. As governor, he did right to repair. In Congress, he had a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood. He banned non-compete clauses. He raised the minimum wage for small businesses, raised taxes on multinational corporations, protected gender-affirming care, banned medical providers from withholding care over debt, protected construction workers from wage theft, did a massive Minnesota infrastructure bill. He opposed the Iraq war. He fought neocons twice when they tried to bomb Syria, and he opposed sending weapons to Saudi Arabia. This guy's record is as close to Bernie Sanders as any other politician in the country is going to get. And he actually did a lot of those things directly in Minnesota. He got them through with a 1-seat majority. So you, according to your own words, you should love Tim Walz. Now, why does he actually not love Tim Walz? Why does he actually not love Tim Walz? Because we already established it's not the lie thing. Because Trump told a gazillion more lies and way worse lies and never admitted it, doubled down. He's been a joke on that front. J.D. Vance, same goddamn thing. So it's not the lies. So what is it? I'll tell you what it is. Rogan is in the right-wing ecosystem. Rogan heard the arguments about, Tim Walz put tampons in the boys' bathrooms. That is a complete and utter lie. That is total bullshit. That is not at all what that policy said. It's nonsense. But he believed it. Also, he believed the lie that, Tim Walz was locking people up for violating COVID rules is the other thing that the right was running with. This idea, you have a hotline to snitch on your neighbors. Okay, what came of that? What came of that? Nothing. Nobody got locked up because they were going around COVID rules. This is utter nonsense. And by the way, COVID's such a big thing for Rogan. Who gave us the vaccine? Who did Operation Warp Speed? The guy you endorsed, Donald Trump. Who presided over the lockdowns? Donald Trump. Who castigated and berated the governor of Georgia when the Republican governor of Georgia wanted to open up his state early on during COVID? Trump said, don't you dare open it up. You better stay locked down. So in other words, the shit he says makes absolutely no sense. And if you think Tim Walz is a bigger liar than Donald Trump, you have the IQ of a mosquito. You do. Because again, the reality is at the end of the day, he's in that right-wing echo chamber, and he's vibes-based. He's vibes-based. And so he likes Trump's vibes. He just does, right? And now he's buddy-buddy with Trump. He's buddy-buddy with Don Jr. in the same podcast. They giggle about, Don Jr. liked my tweet. This is embarrassing. This is absolutely embarrassing shit. It's so ironic, isn't it, that the reason why I actually got excited about the Kamala campaign, namely picking Tim Walz, is the reason why. He was like, no, I'm going to endorse Trump. And who do you think has more knowledge about Tim Walz? Who do you think knows the policies and the reality of Tim Walz? Well, I just told you his entire record. Did he know any of those things? Literally any of those things. Any of those things. Did Rogan hear any of the awesome, tremendous policies that Tim Walz did? No, he didn't. He heard some bullshit about, locking people up over COVID rules and tampons in the boys' bathroom. And, bro, he said he was in Tiananmen Square during the thing, but he was there like a couple weeks before, bro. He said he achieved a higher rank in the military, but he didn't. He actually was promoted to that, then didn't fill out the paperwork. So technically, he didn't actually get that rank, bro. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Anyway, TFG, bro. Joe, you are just a Republican now. That's it. You're just a Republican. You're Sean Hannity. You're Ben Shapiro. There's no difference. There's no difference. This is what you've become. This is what you've become. It is what it is. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.